Welcome to Build Your Maverick Business, the podcast for underdog, outlier, and renegade entrepreneurs. If you dream of going off on your own and launching your rebel empire, but don't know where to start, you're in the right place. We'll teach you how to use mindset, branding, and practical advice to build a killer business and transform your world. And now, here's your host, Alex Pitt.
Oi, oi, welcome back. Hope you've all had a lovely week. I am sat here doing my work before I give myself a much needed makeover. It's only early in the day, but I can see my reflection in the black of my second monitor right now, and fuck me dead, I look like a pasty Victorian woman's corpse today. It's not cute. I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I feel like I have, but my hair is naturally blonde, which means I've got blonde eyebrows at the moment. And with no makeup on, I look a little bit like a boiled egg in a wig. Hair scraped back, glasses on. We're not even talking like the before shot in a noughties rom-com. This is like, if I leave the house right now, I will scare small children. So, all good. I'll get in the shower in a bit, sort my life out. Anyway, speaking of scary things, I have had a great time this week because I, like you, I imagine, seeing as you're listening to me, I love a podcast. I absolutely love whacking on my headphones and getting stuck into a good story, detaching myself from the monotony of daily life and indulging in a little bit of escapism. So I have fucked myself over a little bit in the last couple of weeks really. I was at a party a few weeks ago, got chatting to a lovely lady, someone I'd not met before, and she said to me, "You have got to listen to this podcast called Uncanny." Now, if anyone has listened to Uncanny, you'll know how good it is. It is a BBC podcast, BBC production, hosted by Danny Robbins. And the whole idea is that Danny Robbins interviews people who have had paranormal experiences. He chats to people who have brushed with ghosts, aliens, slips in time, doppelgangers, all kinds of weird shit. So when I say I fucked myself over, I forgot one crucial thing about myself in binging all 3 series of the Uncanny podcast. One fact about Alex that I know to be true, and that is I am such a wimp when it comes to scary stuff. This was a terrible idea for me to listen to this podcast. I have woken up so many times in the night and needed to pee, but the thought of getting out from under the covers to face whatever spooky shit might be waiting to grab me by the ankles. No, I'm just lying there frozen in fear until I finally pluck up the courage to run there and back, and it's kind of like the whole way. Yeah, I make it, but I've just been freaking myself out royally with this podcast. It's amazing. Cannot recommend it enough. And it's really unsettling, these interviews, especially when you hear the fear in the people's voices. One of the things I love about it so much is that it's a great show to listen to, whether or not you actually believe ghosts or aliens or anything spooky and unexplained like that actually exist, whether you're a skeptic or a believer. The reason is that they interweave these interviews with these guests with input from experts who try and actually suss out what's happening. So someone thinks they've seen a ghost, they think they've seen something from another plane, from the beyond, and these experts are saying, could be seismic activity if shit's flying around the room. Sleep paralysis if there's a demon climbing on you, hallucinations. There was even a suggestion once that a spooky blue man in the corner of this woman's room might be caused by like glowing mushrooms. I mean, that one must be bullshit. I'm thinking that shit's wild. The bitch saw a ghost. But if you don't believe it, if you are a skeptic, or even if not, the main takeaway from speaking to these experts is that there are a myriad of ways that our brains lie to us. They're not totally reliable. Our senses, our memories, they can be bullshitting us on a monumental scale. What we think is a ghost could just be a pile of clothes in the corner. And that, at long last, brings me on to the topic of today's podcast. That is negativity bias. That little bitch of a splinter in that brain of yours that's telling you everything's kind of shit. You know the one. That sneaky voice in our heads that seems to amplify every setback, every criticism, every moment of doubt, while conveniently muting every achievement, every victory, and every moment of triumph. As business owners, it's a voice we all contend with. And if left unchecked, it can wreak havoc on you, on your perception of success and of your progress. So all negativity bias is, it's the way that our brain tends to focus more on negative experiences, emotions, than on the positive ones. It's evolutionary, right? It's an ancient survival mechanism that served our ancestors really well when they needed to be aware of threats, your predators, your angry tribe on the other side of the hill. I've talked about this before. The person who remembered which berries killed their mate Dave last week is going to live longer than the one who remembers a pretty sunset. It's sad, it is regrettable, but it's true, and it's kept humanity ticking over for the past however long we've been around. But it's a lot harder to get straight up killed by predators these days. Especially living in a suburb of West London. But our brains haven't got the fucking memo. So think about it, how many times you found yourself dwelling on that one nasty thing that a client or customer has said, while you overlook all the glowing testimonials and reviews from a load of other people, or obsessing over one minor setback in your business plan, while glossing over all of the milestones you've already crushed. That is negativity bias at work. So why does it really matter as a business owner? Well, first up, it can seriously mess with your perception of success. I've spoken before about how this entire thing, the entire journey of running a business, shouldn't be about the end goal. You need to be enjoying things as they're happening. So if you're running a startup and you're hitting your sales targets and you're getting the funding and you're getting positive feedback from others and your brain carries on being a little bitch saying you're not doing well enough, you're not as successful as you think you are, it's just going to ruin your fun. It's a trap that many of us fall into. You're not alone if this all sounds familiar. But another thing to watch out for with this is it's just knocking your confidence, which holds you back from making more decisions, it holds you back from taking risks. Leaving negativity bias unchecked is a dangerous game to play, especially seeing as success isn't a one-size-fits-all thing. Comparing your journey to somebody else's is stupid. It's a waste of time. No one does it the same way. And everyone else who you think is crushing it while you're focusing on all of your shortcomings that are probably all in your head anyway, all of the other people that you think are smashing it are going through the same thing. Nobody knows what we're doing. We're all pissing in the wind and we're all being really mean to ourselves. So how then do we combat negativity bias and reclaim that sense of success? Reclaim your confidence. Well, I have a suggestion. I have an idea for you. And depending on how bored you are this weekend, you can go full art attack with it. You can craft the shit out of it. You can do it digitally. You can go full Neil Buchanan and paper mache it. You can just write it in a notebook. You can ignore this completely. How am I going to know? You do you, pals. But here's what I want you to do. If you find your brain telling you all sorts of mean shit and trying to convince you that you're not doing really well, I want you to create yourself a little bank of good shit. Doesn't that sound lovely? A little bank of good shit. So what I mean by this is I want you to start in whatever way is going to come naturally to you and whatever way is going to make you actually do it. I want you to start tracking your wins, tracking the compliments you received, the things that you're proud of, and keep a copy of it right near you. Especially useful if it's by your desk or wherever you work. You can make it like a little ballot box and slip little bits of paper into it. Every time someone tells you how great you are at what you do, write down the details. 9:15 a.m. Tuesday, Sue Jones told me my products are the best she's ever tried. Track it. Keep a note of it. The exact wording and how it made you feel. Even if you just put it in the notes of your phone. Whatever. Just promise me that when you feel shit or like you're not doing very well or that you're not where you want to be right now, promise me you'll crack into the little bank of good shit and remind yourself how well you're doing, how much you are in fact smashing it. Deal? Deal. Okay. So the next time, my loves, that little voice of doubt creeps into your mind and tries to convince you that you're not as successful as you should be, remember, it's just the negativity bias. It's just Dave and his berries. Take a step back, breathe, remind yourself how far you've come. You are doing better than you think. Your journey is uniquely yours. Embrace the shit bits, celebrate everything else. Keep pushing forward. All right, my loves, I've got a date with some deep conditioner. Catch you here next time. If you love what you're hearing in this podcast, but you are still yet to start that rebel empire of your own, I've got something that might help. Head over to the show notes of this episode where you will find a free 7-step action plan to kickstarting your first side hustle. It's got pretty pictures, it's got activities. What more could you want, my loves? Get it downloaded, try it out, let me know how you get on.